Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is AyandaBeing, but I go by the name of AyandaBeing on social media. If it is your first time here, welcome. And if you are a regular, thank you once again for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you are seeing this video, that means I was able to keep my word and upload every Thursday as per promise. Today's video is a little bit of a different one. When I woke up this morning, the SA football team Bafana made history as they qualified to go to the World Cup knockouts. This is the first ever in the history of history, and I thought to myself it is quite odd that this is the first time ever that our South African football team has ever made it this far. And I was like, let me just have a little bit of a look into the history of our soccer and see what has been going on there, because for this to be the first time it's happening means a lot has happened for us to get here. So as we know that our country has been through so much in terms of racial segregation, the South African national team has also went through a lot of segregation. Black, colored and Indian soccer players were not allowed to represent the national team. Only white people could represent the national team. And that is when in 1933, the South African Bantu Football Association was created to help promote soccer amongst black communities in South Africa. As I was reading up on all these things, I also found out that in 1899, the Orange Free State Bantu Football Club was the first ever black South African football team to tour the world. I found that to be quite interesting because this is happening way before apartheid is even legal. It happened, and as it was happening, there were so many things that were against them. It was like they were on a back foot, but they were determined, and that is something that you can be proud of. That is something that we need to be proud of. No matter what is happening in our country, our people, specifically talking about black people here, they always find a way to fight and get the stage that they are looking for. There was a lot of enforcement of not mixing races. For example, the colors, they had their own football association, which was called the South African Colors Football Association, and then the black people had the South African Football Association. It was only in 1951 when all these three bodies, or rather these football associations, came together to build one federation, which would now be the South African Soccer Federation. But even then, it was during apartheid, so there was not really much that they can do. When you look at black people, the most tragic thing is really the fact that we almost have to always justify our existence, because the lengths that people will go to make sure that we don't feel like we belong in certain spaces is diabolical. For something as small as football to also experience such atrocious behavior and lack of support and resources just because it's black people, or rather people of color in this instance, is something that we can't ignore. We cannot ignore the fact that the reason why it has taken so long for us to get to where we are is not necessarily that our people can't play, but rather that they didn't have opportunities to play. So when someone looks at such moments and they look down upon them or frown upon them and act like it's not a big deal, it actually annoys me, because what do you mean that you live in the country that you live in, which is South Africa, a country that has been through so many things and somehow always prevails, that when something as monumental as this happens, you want to downplay it? You're not looking at the big picture. You are not contextualizing our South African experience and everything that our country has went through to actually be able to achieve what it has achieved. It's 2026 now, and so many things are happening in our country. If there is anything to learn from those who came before us, is that this country is worth fighting for. As we close off this month of June, where the youth of 1976 took to the streets to fight, let us remember where we come from. Let us not be discouraged. Let's look at what Bafana did as something to hold on to, as something to be proud of, because at the end of the day, we are world champions. South Africa is a world-class country. Yes, we do have issues. No country is without issues, but these are issues that can be fixed. It's not issues that make you want to say, I'm throwing away the whole country. You get what I mean? So the whole point of this video is basically to give you guys a little bit of a glimpse as to where we come from in terms of soccer, where we are, and what our attitude should be. Let's not be harsh, guys. When certain things happen in our country, we tend to be very harsh and forget the history of our country. Our country is barely 35 years into freedom. So when certain things happen and monumental things happen, we need to celebrate and contextualize it for our country. We must not compare ourselves to other countries where they've had independence for the longest time, they've had freedom for the longest time. We, to this day, are still suffering the ramifications of apartheid. We are still suffering economically. We are still suffering racially even. It's not to say that we haven't made any progress, but the progress that we have made, especially as black people, coloreds, and Indians, we need to acknowledge it. And when there is a moment to celebrate, we need to celebrate in remembrance and in knowing that the future is going to be bright. You know, it's very sad to see people not give the same energy as they gave to the Springboks. This is not to say I'm comparing the two, but I'm just saying that it says a lot about you as a person, where a predominantly black team that is predominantly supported by black people is not receiving the same support as the counterpart, which would be your Springbok, where it's predominantly white. So this video was basically just for there to say, guys, we have come so far as a country, but we still have a long way to go. Today is a day to remember. History was made, and I would like for you to interrogate yourself, Uguti, 5-10 years from now, when these moments are spoken about, what will you say you did? Which side did you take? Not necessarily that we have to take sides, but which stance did you stand on? Were you supportive? Were you rooting for it? Were you seeing this moment for actually what it is? Because guys, things are changing for the better. This is a monumental thing. This is something to be proud of. I'm extremely proud to be South African. I'm extremely proud to be black. I am extremely proud to be young. We have a long way to go, but we're doing great. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next week, Thursday. Celebrate, support, and just, you know, contextualize things. Thank you. Bye.